Alrighty, so today we're going to do the review of match week number 29, at least part one of the review that is, looking at the first 8 games, and most of these games are Eastern Conference game, and it feels like the Eastern Conference playoff race is once again stacked again. After last week, it looked like it kind of opened up a little bit. Now it's back to between 8th all the way down to last place, a 7 point gap. Though there are definitely signs that there are some teams that look like they might be out of it, even though they're still within whisker of making the playoffs. And then there are teams that are definitely are right up there in terms of the playoff line. And one of those teams is Atlanta United. So as a little spoiler alert, knowing that the Union also won in their matchup, Atlanta knew that they had to win in this game. Well, actually, they didn't knew because the game was played at the same time as this game between Charlotte and Atlanta. But this was a big 3 points for Atlanta to keep themselves above the red line at the time being against a team that is Charlotte FC that they don't lose a lot of home games this season. Now, in the first half, 7 minutes in, the first shot of the game did see Schwedetsky heads it right to Guzan before Vargas heads it right to Guzan in the 13th minute. Westwood then puts it wide from close range. I thought Charlotte was the better team, at least early in this one. They were on the front foot, pressing for the opening goal. Silva then puts it wide from close before Bio hits one right to Guzan. Vargas then hits one right to Guzan in the 29th minute. And then in the 31st minute, Selena would deny TRA from close range as I thought chances started to kind of become for both of these teams. Atlanta kind of got off to a bit of a slow start, but they definitely got into this game. But so did Charlotte. They also created some good opportunity, and both teams were pressing for the opener. Lobjanitse then puts it wide from close before Kalina denied Lobjanitse from close in the 45th minute, as I thought Atlanta finished the half the stronger side. They were pressing late for the opener, but we do head to halftime scoreless between these two southeastern rival. Now in the second half, Kalina would deny Silva from close range as this time it's actually Atlanta, the one that were on the front foot. So after in the first half where Charlotte was on the front foot coming out of the gate, Atlanta was the one to do so this time. They were pressing for the opener. Kalina would deny Gregerson on the header, and then Lobjanitse would hit one into the side netting. I thought the pressure was started really come come extreme for Atlanta. I mean, it was wave after wave of pressure. They were pounding on the door for the opener, and unsurprisingly, eventually they do get the opener. And it's an unlikely source too. Fortune, a rare goal that he scored here, especially a great long range goal that he scored here from John Day Silver to give Atlanta a 1-0 lead. Ajiman did look response for Charlotte, but he can only hits one right to Guzan, and then Bio would hit one right to Guzan in the 60th minute as Charlotte started to press back to try to get the equalizer. Ajiman then missed wide from close in the 65th before Lobjanitse on the other and had a shot that was deflected and just goes wide. Rios then missed wide from close in the 81st minute. Atlanta looked like they were trying to put away this game and try to get the second goal. Though on the other end, Ajiman would hit it wide from close range, and in the fourth minute stoppage time, Kalina just was able to deny Tyler Wolf, who was in on goal here, and keep Charlotte in this game. But ultimately, Atlanta they do hold on to get a massive 3 points in this one to keep themselves above the red line with a 1-0 win. Shots in this one, 19 shots for the 12 that Charlotte has. Both teams had 6 shots on goal. 5 shots off target with a 7 that Atlanta had. 6 shots that was blocked with a 1 that Charlotte has. And possession-wise, 50% for both of these teams. And like I said, for Atlanta, this is a big win for them. They don't usually win a lot on the road this season. So to get a big win like this, especially coming to a place that is not very easy to get points that away, that is Bank of America Stadium. I think Atlanta is going to be very happy this resort. But for Charlotte, yeah, things have not gone well for the Crown. At least ever since the calendar turned to July. It feels like ever since the beginning of the transfer window, even though they're trying to get better, it hasn't really quite so. The goal scoring is still a big problem of this team, and that's even with Trudetsky back in this team, and then not to mention not to mention their defense. Their defense is still okay, but it's not as good as what we saw in the beginning of the season. And when you have an attack that is not doing very, very well and the defense not as good as what we saw in the beginning of the season, it feels like the writing maybe started to be on the wall a little bit for Charlotte, because I know they performed very well, at least in the first half of the season. They've been a very big surprise in the league, and Dean Smith has done a great job to this team. But it feels like it might have started to take a bit of a toe, especially on the defensive end, where there's starting to become cracks there. And as I mentioned, the attack still has not improved, even when they got these new signings, and of course getting Shradutsky back in this team. Now, moving on in terms of the next match, and I forgot to write down the timestamp of the first one, so I'll just say 1 minute at least. I remember. I think I started this talking about this 1 minute in, but in the next one we got Cincinnati versus Montreal, and I gotta say Cincinnati, they really needed this one because things have not gone so well for Cincinnati lately, and that there's I know they're still within distance in terms of winning the Supporter Shield, but something tells me it feels like this is probably Miami Supporter Shield to lose, especially with the gaps that they have. But despite that, they haven't been playing relatively well, and here they face against a Montreal team that seems like they're in a free fall right now, and they took a full advantage. That is Cincinnati. Now early on, Siwas would tip Oriano's shot over before Awazim would put it wide from close range, as I thought Cincinnati was pushing early to try to get the opener. Awazim would then hit it wide from close before the post would deny Oriano from close range. The shots were 5-0 for Cincinnati early. It was all Cincy in this one. And eventually that pressure paid off in the 36th minute as Kevin Kelsey, it's been a while since he has scored a goal for Cincinnati, but he scored here to make it 1-0 in favor of Cincinnati. It came off of a deflection, though again with the pressure that Cincinnati was putting in, with how dominant that Cincinnati was playing, it was a matter of time before they get the opening goal, and they do exactly that, and they lead 1-0 heading into the second half. Now, in the second half, there was a potential penalty that could give it into Cincinnati early on. It looked like Waterman brought down Kelsey in the box. They go to VAR to see whether or not if that is the case, and VAR says no, it's not. Waterman did not brought down Kelsey in the box. I actually forgot to put did not there because I made it sound like Waterman did brought down Kelsey in the box there, but yeah, no penalty, of course, was given. Also, one of the rare incident where the original call was no penalty and they go to VAR. Usually, when I see that happen, they overturn the call, but that was one of the rare incident where they didn't overturn the call. They withstand the call at that play. But that being said, the doesn't matter because in the 53rd minute, Oriano would score. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, you know what? Remember how I said there was no penalty? I know why there was no penalty because apparently they said that of course was outside the box. Now I kind of remember because I kind of remember. Wait a minute, the goal that Lucas Oriano scored is kind of in some way directly involved in terms of this incident, and that was because I think they said that foul happened outside the box here, so therefore that's why there was no penalty that was given. So yeah, instead it was a free kick there, and Cincinnati took advantage of the free kick either way, as Oriano scored there on the free kick to make it 2-0. It took a deflection off the wall and on the free kick. So yeah, for Cincinnati, a team that hasn't had a lot of luck lately, they definitely had some good luck in this one. Two deflection uh shot here, and they got two goals as a result of it. And then they make it 3-0 when in the 57th minute he did it again. Remember earlier this season when Lucas Oriano scored a long range goal and basically chipped the goalkeeper from his own half? I think it was against the Union that he did that. He did it again here against Montreal. Just basically chipped it all from his own half there. Goes over the head of Siwas. Though you got to question Montreal there. I mean, they just completely fell asleep on that free kick, and heads great heads up play. There it is. There for Lucas Oriano in terms of knowing that the entire Montreal team, including the goalkeeper, was completely fall asleep. So why not try it? Try to trip the goalkeeper. We also saw Oriano try to did this in the MLS All Star game as well. So he's a guy that's known to trying to score from his own half. And again, second time this season he has done this, and I would not be surprised if he can do it for the third time as well. Because again, this is happening more and more often nowadays compared to before that feels like it's just kind of a wonder goal, and just well, it's still a wonder goal, but still something that just is as rare as an Olympic goal that we see nowadays in this league. In the 70th minute, Robinson would head it wide from close range, but then in the 71st minute, it was 4-0 in favor of Cincinnati. Sergio Santos would score from Al Wazim to make it 4-0 in favor of Cincinnati, just non-existent defending from Montreal. I mean, this Montreal team has just completely checked out these last couple of games, and this defense that has been really poor this season. Again, just this game kind of is a prime example of that. Though they did get one back in the 81st minute as Opoku would score from Alvarez and Duke to make it 4-1 in favor of Cincinnati. Sautano then denied Kokoro from close range, and then it was almost 5-1 if it wasn't for the post getting away of Ian Murphy and his chance to score a goal in the fifth for Cincinnati. But ultimately, for Cincinnati, they needed this one. I mean, coming into this game, we knew that they were heavily favored against a fading Montreal side, but we talked about before, just because you're heavily favored against a team doesn't mean you're always going to get the 3 points, and there are definitely pressure to try to do so, especially when you're playing at home. And for Cincinnati, they definitely got the job done. A 4-1 win here. Shots in this one, 16 shots for the 5 that Montreal has. 3 shots on goal for the 6 that Cincinnati has. 5 shots off target for the 2 that Montreal has. No shots off block for the 3 that Cincinnati has. And possession-wise, 58% possession compared to the 42% possession that Montreal has in this game. And I know it's just Montreal, and we have seen before where teams have been taking advantage of putting a crooked number on the scoreboard against Montreal, but hopefully that maybe get Cincinnati going and maybe get themselves. I mean, I know they're sort of in the conversation right now in terms of MLS Cup contender. Obviously, there's still question when it comes to their defense as well, as their defense hasn't really been playing that well. But one thing for sure is that this attack is very good. And what's even crazier about this game is that Lucho Acosta didn't even play in this game. I think that's going to be one thing that Cincinnati fans will hope to see more often. Lucho Acosta, he's I think ever since he's dealt with that injury, he's been kind of on and off. He hasn't really been 100% healthy, and talk about how Cincinnati had a really bad record without Lucho Acosta in there, and that now that I think this is the second time that they won without Lucho Acosta, this is definitely good news for Cincinnati to not just have to rely on their talisman, even though they would love to have their talisman and the Reign MVP back in this team, because if the Reign MVP is back in this team, they are definitely going to be an MLS Cup contender, even if there's major question when regards to their defense. Now, moving on, in terms of the next match, is Columbus and NYCFC, and this game felt very similar to the quarterfinal game in the Leagues Cup, where NYCFC they got an early goal in this one, only for Columbus to equalize in the first half. But one thing for sure about this NYCFC team is that they play Columbus hard, but unfortunately Columbus is Columbus, and there's a reason why I think right now. If you want to tell me who's going to be the favorites of winning MLS Cup, I mean, I know there's going to be some people say Inter Miami is the favorite to do so, because of all the talent they had, but I'm gonna say it's Columbus with the way that they are just red hot right now, and when Columbus does face against Inter Miami, that could be a very interesting matchup, especially many people maybe have already nailed that one as a conference final, consider how both these teams are playing so well right now, and feels like they're on a collision course. But that being said, like I said, just like what we saw in the quarterfinal of the Leagues Cup, NYCFC wastes no time to get a 1-0 lead against Columbus at Lower.com Field. And just like that game, it's the same guy that scored the early goal, Alonso Martinez. He scored from Gray and Sands to make it 1-0 in favor of NYCFC. This time, obviously, it didn't came because of a bad mistake from Columbus. This actually was very well worked for NYCFC, and as I said, once again, NYCFC scoring against Columbus, and just like also the last game, it was the first shot of the game as well. That also will be the only shot we will get for the first 15 minutes. I thought NYCFC kind of dominate possession early on, which again, that's kind of unheard of when you face against a crew team that pretty much every single game that they played this season, except for a couple of them, they've been the protagonists. But NYCFC was the protagonist, and they played relatively well. But then, unfortunately, in the 18th minute, Columbus would equalize, and kind of equalize against the run of play too, because NYCFC controlled the game as Diego Rossi would score from Ramirez and Cucho to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Rodriguez did look to respond, but he hits it right to Schulte before Parks would head it wide from close range. Cucho then curls it wide from long range. That also came over the turnover from NYCFC. So yeah, that's something you don't want to do when you're facing against this crew team, because they're gonna punish teams 9 out of 10 times when you turn the ball over in a bad spot. Ramirez then puts it just wide from close range, but we do head to halftime with the score tied up at 1 apiece. In the second half, Rossi had a shot that was deflected and goes wide. There was actually an appeal for a handball on Kevin O'Toole from Columbus, and they actually did go to VAR to see whether or not if that is the case, but VAR says nope, it was no penalty for Columbus, but Columbus didn't need the penalty to take the lead not long after, because in the 58th minute, another guy that's been having a breakout season, Max Arfston, he scored from Rossi to make it get 2-1 in favor of Columbus. And also, as a Quakes fan, I just want to remind you that Max Arfston used to play for Quakes 2 in the MLS Next Pro, and here's another great example of the Quakes letting a talented player out just because they think that he was not good enough, and it comes back to haunt them in a big way. Though, full credit has to go to Max Arfston. He's played really well this season, and has really looked good under Wilfried Nancy's system. Though you could argue that everybody works well under Wilfried Nancy's system. Wilfried Nancy has done a really good job with this team, as I mentioned many times before, and he can turn even a player that looks average to a player that looks like a superstar right now and having a breakout year. With that being said, in the 63rd minute, Martins would heads one right to Schulte before Hack would heads it wide from close range. Rodriguez then puts it wide from long range. And again, if there's one thing I will say about NYCFC in terms of the effort that they had, they definitely did not show that they want to quit in this game. They really play Columbus hard, and they continue to try to press to get the equalizer. And they got it in the 86th minute. And guess who got this one? Yep, that's right. It's Munsa Bakra, one of the most snake bin number 9 in the league this season, would score a wonderful goal here to tie the game up at 2 apiece. I mean, with the strike that he has, if you not watch NYCFC all season, you would have not guessed that Bakra would be a guy that has been snake bin and just at time wasting those chances in front of goal. I mean, that was a lovely finish there. I really think ever since he scored the first goal of the season, not long ago, it feels like the confidence is back in him, and that's definitely good news for NYCFC. But yeah, that ties the game up at 2 apiece. But if there's one thing we know about Columbus, is that even when they face adversity, they'll find a way to pull through. Because in the 3rd minute of stoppage time, DeJuan Jones would score his first career goal for Columbus from Matan to make it 3-2 in favor of the crew. But also, that was not great defending from NYCFC. I mean, just leaving DeJuan Jones wide open in the box there, like, where in the world was the defending in the box there from NYCFC? Now, on that play as well, Julian Fernandez actually got himself a straight red. Apparently, he bumped the referee. At least that's why I heard on the Twitter page of NYCFC fan, because they didn't actually show this on the highlights or even mention it on the broadcast or even show a replay of this. So apparently, I guess that's what happened. And obviously, when you bump the referee like that, and if you do it in an intentional way, as I heard some NYCFC fans says, that's always an automatic red card and could be maybe an additional game of suspension, because you can't do that as a player. But that being said, in the 10-minute stoppage time, Russell Rowe basically would add number 4 for Columbus to make it 4-2 in this one. And yeah, that was the final score of this game. Again, scoreline really didn't indicate the fact that this was a really tightly a fair game, and that, again, I can't wait to see this matchup in the playoffs. Maybe in the early rounds as well, depending on seeding as well, because, I think NYCFC, even though I know they lost both of these meetings, they really played Columbus hard in both of these meetings and give this crew team a tough time at times. But the shots in this one, 11 shots with a 17 that NYCFC had. Both team had 5 shots on goal, 4 shots off target with a 2 that Columbus had, 4 shots that was blocked with a 6 that NYCFC had, and possession-wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that Columbus has in this game. Now, moving on, in terms of the next game, is the Red Bulls versus the Philadelphia Union, and what a bizarre game this was. I mean, this was a game where the Pulse was basically the MVP of this game. it was kind of surreal to see how many posts was hit in this game, and it's even more surreal that the Red Bulls might have broke the record for the most posts hit in this game, as they hit 5 posts in this one. But at the same time, if you want to say put in some usual narrative in this game, it's felt like a very Red Bulls game, wasn't it? A game where I've mentioned it many times this season. The biggest narrative of the Red Bulls and the thing that frustrates Red Bulls fan, they play well, they create chances, but they don't put away because of lack of finishing, or in this case, just getting absolutely blue ball by the post in this game. Though it didn't start out well for the Red Bulls, because 4 minutes in, the Union takes the lead. It's Mikael Uru. He scored from McGlynn to give the Union a 1-0 lead. That was the first shot of the game as well. Harper then looked to respond, but he was denied by Blake. By the way, there was a lot of chance in this game as well. So, to my biggest surprise when I saw the stats and when I found out that both of these teams didn't even had more than 35 or even 40 plus shots in this one, I was kind of surprised, because I wrote a lot of notes on this board, and I saw a lot on the highlights. They show a lot of chances in this one, so I thought that there was at least going to be 40 shots in this game as well. But in the 11th minute, Manuel would clip the post from long range in the 11 minutes. It's been a fast start to this game, as both of them were having some good, well, both team was having some good chance early, and then in the 14th minute, the Union would take a 2-0 lead. And guess who? It's Ty Baribo. He cannot stop scoring goals right now. He scored another one here from Uru to make it 2-0 in favor of the Union. And it was also a great goal there from long range. That is a goal from a guy that is clearly at its peak in terms of confidence. I mean, right now, if you want to tell me who is probably the most lethal number 9 in the league, I mean, there are definitely some good candidates. Ty Baribo has got to be right up the list. He is just unstoppable right now when it comes to in front of goal. He's pretty much guaranteed to be on the score sheet every single game. Though on the other end, Blake would absolutely rob Manuel from point blank effort before he denied Duncan from close in the 18th minute. I already wrote, it's already looked like it's one of those nights for the Red Bulls where I've seen this so many times before, where they just could not finish, or in this case, Blake once again is up to hit his robbery again, just making these incredible save to keep this Union team in the league, and bailed out at times an optional defense that this Union team has. In the 27th minute, Morgan would puts it wide from long range, and really after a furious first 30 minutes where there was non-stop chances for both of these teams, the game did kind of slow down a little bit. As for the last 15 minutes, not really much chances kind of created. It's almost like both managers are basically telling their team to maybe settle down a little bit. Well, maybe not the Red Bulls, that they feel like they maybe should keep going. But I'm pretty sure Jim Curran is telling his team to just kind of settle down, because they do not want an end-to-end game when they have the lead, especially the fact that they are the road team. But we do head to halftime with the Union leading 2-0. In the second half, Morgan would clip the post from close range, as that's the second post of 5 that the Red Bulls would hit. Cornell would then deny Uru on the doorstep of goal, and then Gastak would puts it high from long range in the 49th minute, just like the beginning of the first half. Furious chances started in the second half as well, as both of these teams was pushing for the next goal. Cornell would then deny Uru from close range, and then the post would deny Manuel again from long range. Again, that's now the third post that the Red Bulls has had. I mean, Elias Manuel, you talk about a snake bit player. He is pretty snake bitten right now, and this game doesn't help his case with the way that the post just been victimized this Red Bulls team. And I even wrote, yep, it's definitely one of those nights for the Red Bulls. They're just getting absolutely blue ball by the post, and it just feels like nothing is going right again for them in front of goal. Nealis would then head it wide from close range before Morgan had a shot that was deflected and hits the post, the fourth of the night. Again, I even wrote at this point, what's the record in terms of the most posts a team has hit? Because that's now 4 posts that the Red Bulls has hit up to this point. Cornell would then deny Uru, as he spills it, or actually, yeah, he denied Uru, but he actually spills this one, and he's very fortunate that he was just about to hang on to that one before any Union player was able to pounce on it. Manuel then hits the post on the header again. Elias Manuel getting a hat trick of post. I think he might have become the first player in MLS history to hit the post 3 times and get a hat trick of it. So yeah, on one hand you get a rare achievement like that, but on the other hand, it's, well, not an achievement that Elias Manuel was looking for to get in, and it's kind of one of those honor where you kind of don't want that honor of hitting the post 3 times and getting a hat trick of post hit in this game. And I also thought this was started getting out of hand because it feels like there was a magnet in front of the post. It feels like most of the shots every time it's come close toward the post, it ends up into the post. And then Bariba would miss an absolute sitter from close range in the 73rd minute. If Bariba didn't score early in this game, yeah, I would say he maybe was a little statement in this one as well because yeah, I would say 99 out of 100 time Bariba would put this one into the back of the net. Then Danarin would put it wide from close range before the post would deny Baribo on the doorstep of goal. That's the 6th time in this game that the post has been hit, and again, it feels like this might be a record in terms of the most posts being hit in a single game. It feels like there's more posts that was being hit than actually shots on goal that was being made in this one. Spoiler, that obviously didn't wasn't the case. That was kind of a little bit of a sarcasm, though. Would you blame me for making that sarcasm with the way that just so many posts that was being hit in this one? Blake would then deny Manuel from close, and yeah, in the end, the Union they win 2-0 in just one of the most bizarre games you can imagine. A game that could have easily ended with at least 5 or 6 goals that is scored more in this one, but the Union gets the big free points in this one, and as I mentioned, they keep pace with Atlanta in terms of that final playoff spot. They're only 1 point behind for that final playoff spot. Shots in this one, 11 shots for the 21 that the Red Bulls had, 4 shots on goal for the 6 that the Union has, 4 shots off target for the 5 that the Red Bulls had, 6 shots on block for the none that the Union has, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to the 40% possession the Union has in this game. And I'll reiterate what I said about the Red Bulls earlier. The narrative continues. I mean, this team could easily be a top 4 team in the East if they can put away chances, and it's kind of be wilder to see the fact that games after games where they have these opportunity and they don't able to finish it. It's almost like if with the way that we have seen this happen time and time again, it's almost like it's started to become a mental kind of thing. It's kind of gone into the heads of all these Red Bulls attacker where no matter what they do in terms of trying to finish, it's not gonna happen, and it feels like there's a bunch of players that just kind of gone snake bitten right now. And we said it many times before: when you're an attacker and you can't put the ball into the back end, no matter how many chances you get, the goals just look very small for you. And right now, for all these Red Bulls attacker, it just feels like the goal is very small for them, or the fact that post feels very big for them because they just cannot stop hitting posts in this one, and might have just got a record for the most posts hit in a single game. With that being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the last 4 games to conclude the review of part 1 of this review of match week number 29. So moving on, in the next one is Orlando and Nashville, and this is kind of the same thing I said in the Cincinnati versus Montreal game. For Orlando, they haven't really been playing well lately. Desperately need a home win against a team that is really struggling right now and look like we're fading away to a point where they're not going to make the playoffs. That is Nashville SC. Orlando got the much needed win and get a blowout in the reserve. Though I will say that unlike the Cincinnati versus Montreal game where Cincinnati absolutely dominate Montreal throughout the full 90 minutes, Nashville actually had their moments in this one as well. And you would argue that, if they were able to put away some of those chances, maybe the scoreline could be a little bit different. In fact, the first shot of the game, Muro hits this one onto the roof of the net, and then he was in on goal here in the 8th minute, but he was absolutely raw by Galese there. And even though I thought Nashville had started well as they were looking for the opening goal, you got to bury that chance. I mean, when you're a team that is struggling as what Nashville is this season, especially in front of goal, that's got to be in the back of that. Because if you don't, the other team will punish you. And Orlando punished Nashville for not being clinical, as in the 10th minute, Angulo would score from Ojeda to give Orlando City a 1-0 lead, really against the run of play, because I thought Nashville was the better team. It was really the first shot for Orlando, too, and just an absolute gift. This was from Joe Willis. Things are not going well for Nashville when even Joe Willis, an experienced goalkeeper, probably one of the more underrated goalkeeper in the league, are making mistakes like this. I mean, just give the straight to Ojeda. Very unlike Joe Willis here. And just like that, Orlando was gifted a 1-0 lead, and they took that gift by getting another goal in the 14th minute as Facu Torres would score from Folholson to give Orlando City a 2-0 lead. It is no surprise that when Orlando is playing well right now, it's because Facundo Torres is scoring goals again and creating the assist shot. I mean, this season, when Orlando was really struggling, Facu Torres was also so struggling. When Orlando was doing well, Facu Torres was doing well. There's a correlation in terms of that, and that it feels like he started. He had a bit of a cold streak, but now that he started playing very well, it's no surprise Orlando City has started do well as well. Surridge did look to respond, but he was denied by the post in the 20th minute, just to show you again how Nashville just have no luck in front of goal. Mule would then puts it wide from close range, as I thought Nashville has responded well. They were looking to try to get one back. Then we had a chance here in the 26th minute, and oh god, who oh yeah, Janssen. I was thinking like who did I write here? It was actually Janssen, the one that missed a free header there for Orlando from close range in the 26th minute before Surridge would hits it right to Galese, and then he hits the side ending from close range in the first minute stoppage time. And then Schaffelberg would hits it wide from close in the third minute of stoppage time. And despite the fact that Nashville had their moments in this game, they trailed 2-0 heading into the second half. And it feels like heading into the second half, whatever Oscar Vera said about this team, about the fact that yes, they're happy that they're up 2-0, but they got to clean up on the defensive front. It kind of helped too, because in the second half they definitely cleaned up on the defensive end, not giving as much chances to Nashville as well. In fact, Orlando started to attack to get this third goal. First, Willis denied Torres from close range before he denied Enrique from close. Much better start, I thought, for Orlando as they were looking for the third goal. Brekalo had a header that actually goes by everyone on the goal mouth there, but it missed wide, and then Iago but become the latest victim of getting hit his shot on the post, as he did that in the 63rd minute. So Nashville didn't do as extreme as what the Red Bulls have, hitting 5 posts, but still kind of almost at that point with the way that they were just very unlucky tonight in front of goal. Again, when you're a team that is not doing well, you're not going to get those lucky bounce that goes in the way, and that's kind of the case for BJ Callahan Nashville side. Again, despite the numerous chances that Nashville has had, you just feel like it's not their night. And in the 85th minute, Facu Torres would score again. He scored from McGuire and Ladero to make it 3-0 in favor of Orlando City, and that would be the final score of this game. As the shots in this one, 13 shots for the 12 that Nashville has, 2 shots on goal compared to 7 that Orlando has. Both team had 3 shots off target. Both team had 2 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, 56% possession compared to 44% possession that Nashville has. So yeah, for Orlando, a big win for them, and especially a confident boost win for them, because again, they haven't really looked well the last couple of games. It feels like they're starting to be revert back to where they were in the beginning of the season, struggling on the attack end and look very, very vulnerable at the back. And while in this game, I feel like there were times where they looked vulnerable at the back, they can thank the fact that Nashville is just completely cursed in front of Cole right now, and even when they do have these games when they are giving chances, they aren't able to put away because it's just not Nashville season whatsoever this year. Now, moving on, in terms of the next match, is DC and Toronto. So remember how in the preview I give credit to TFC and I give credit to John Herman. What a job he has done, and it feels like lately TFC has started to get themselves back into the form where they have really been a surprise underdog, and no one expect them to be doing so well and punching above their weight as well. Well, in this game, it feels like they revert back to 2023 form, and even some of the goals that they conceded was very 2023 like TFC. Now, early on, Johnson would deny Ted Gutierrez after TFC gave the ball away in their own half. So yeah, again, that's something we saw a lot in 2023, and we especially saw a lot of that this season as well. That would be also the only shot for the first 17 minutes. As not much really happened in this match, at least 17 minutes in. The next shot came as Bartlett puts it wide from close range, and then the first shot for Toronto didn't came until the 24th minute when Insigne puts it wide from long range. Bono then denied Etienne Jr., and then on the follow-up, Etienne Jr. was actually brought down in the box. There was a huge shout for a penalty. Referee says no. Bono then denied Insigne from long range, and really after a slow start, it feels like TFC kind of woke up. They were pressing to try to get the opener before halftime, but we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, just like the first half, not much happened in the beginning of the second half as well. Rodriguez would miss wide from long range in the 60th minute, but then 7 minutes later, he would not miss. He scored here from Pietro and Stroud to make it 1-0 in favor of DC. Unfortunately, that lead lasted 16 minutes because in the 83rd minute, coming off the bench, DeAndre Kerr would score from Larea and Wingo to tie the game up at one apiece. And you're thinking, well, with the TFC getting the equalizer and showing some good resilience, is there a way that they can maybe get a second go and turn this thing around? However, Click would then look to respond, but he was denied by Johnson. But Baji was not denied in the 88th minute. He scored here from Dahome to make it 2-1 in favor of DC. That came off just a terrible turnover from DC, as habit die hard for this team again. Even though in a season where they have punch above their weight and defy all logic, there are still those growing pains and those past mistakes that we saw from TFC just giving the ball away in their own half that led to a goal. And as I said before, this performance by Toronto in this game against DC felt very like 2023 wooden spoon TFC team. And then in the third minute of stoppage time, Piarni basically shut the door here as he scored here to make it 3-1 in favor of DC. That was the final score of this game, as the shots in this one, only 5 shots in this game compared to 11 that DC had. Yeah, this was not really one of the more entertaining games to watch, but 6 shots on goal compared to 3 that TFC had, 1 shots off target compared to 2 that DC had, 2 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that TFC had, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that DC has in this game. And for a DC side that looked like they, alongside with Nashville and Montreal, even though they're still within range of the playoffs, it feels like they're kind of fading. But for DC, they look like they're not going to be joining those two teams yet, of just kind of fading down the stretch. They look like they're trying to stay alive, which is kind of interesting because there's been times where this season where DC go on a bad run of form and then somehow pull out of a win out of nowhere. I saw that earlier this season. Well, actually, not long ago when they won against Minnesota on the road in a game where yeah, as a Lutz fan, that was not great memory. But if you're a DC fan, that's definitely great memory because that they were on a really bad run. It feels like that win really energized the team, and they kind of had a decent Leeds Cup run as a result. And even here, even though in the last game looked like they were going to not do much. Even though I thought the last game they fought hard down to 10 men against FC Dallas and had moments that they could have maybe got a point out of it. They get all 3 points in this one, and now you just feel like maybe they're not done yet. Maybe Troy Lesesne will get will be able to carry this team to one magical playoff run, though that's very highly unlikely. Especially the fact that one of the things that DC has not had this season is consistency, especially a winning run, and that's kind of something that they need to do. For a team that's kind of on the lower end in terms of the logjam that is going on in the Eastern Conference playoff race. Now, moving on in terms of the next game, and this is the only game that I'll talk about that is involving a Western Conference battle, because all these other games I'm talking about is Eastern Conference battle. In the next video, I'll talk the last 5 games, and all of those games are a Western Conference battle. Well, actually, all but one, because there was that one interconference matchup that we saw this week. But in this game between Austin and Vancouver, Vancouver did something that they never done in this court meeting between them and Austin, and that is win at Q2 Stadium. Now, early on in the first half, 2 minutes in, Pico would puts it wide from close range before Veselinovic heads it just wide from the corner. Vite then missed just wide from long range. It was a positive start for the Whitecaps in this one, as they were looking to get the opener early. The first shot for Austin did see Dessler miss wide from close before Stuver denied Kubas from long range, and then Berhalter missed just wide from long range, and then Stuver would deny Pico again from close in the 35th minute. Vancouver continued to look good in this one, and it's no surprise that Vancouver eventually win this one. You know, yes, I know the 1-0 scoreline looked like they just squeezed by Austin, but they could have easily won more in this one if they were a little bit more clinical. And Brad Stuver once again looked like he was doing his bow-out job again for Austin in this one. And I also would like to say that this game as well. That in this game, Austin didn't really had as much chances as they should have, and I thought it was just kind of one of those games where, yeah, when they don't have a lot of chance, that means it feels like Austin is gonna win, but that's just not how it ended up in this one. Laborda then hits it wide from the corner before a goal put the ball into the back of the net. Looked like it was 1-0 in favor of the Whitecaps, only for it to be disallowed by VAR because the goal was offside on the development of play, and it was the right call on the development play. I think it was oh god, who was the Whitecaps player that was in an offside position? I think it was Berhalter, the one that was in an offside position on the development of play. But nevertheless, it remains 0-0, and I thought Austin left off the hook because that was just non-existent defending there on that play. And not to mention, the attack has looked flat. I mean, up to this point, I've only mentioned one big moment for Austin, and that came in the 12th minute, because other than that, they have really did nothing for the first half, and they hope to try to do the same in the second half. Bad news is that didn't come true, because as we head to halftime, 0-0 in this one in the second half. Not much chances to start the second half as well. The next chance came for the Whitecaps again, as Uvik would heads it right to Stuver. Bakari then hits the side netting from close range. This is one of the rare chances that Austin has had, but eventually the pressure finally paid off for the Whitecaps, as in the 70th minute, Pedro Vite, it's hard to believe this is his first goal of the season. He has now definitely had a bit of a down year this year, but he scored here from goal to give the Whitecaps a 1-0 lead. And really, as the time winds down, it still looked comfortable for the Whitecaps. Where in the world is the putback for Austin? Like, it just felt like they were not interested in this game whatsoever, and that's crazy to say, because this is a team that is in the midst of a playoff battle. Ahmed then puts it wide from long range before Cascante heads it wide on the free kick. As, yeah, in the end, the Whitecaps a comfortable 1-0 win in this one. And I also realized the stats in this game is completely wrong. I actually put the same stats as this game as well. So let me just get the MLS website up. And again, I wrote this board relatively quick, so that's why I might have made some mistakes when I decided to write down the board. But let me just get the stats here for the Austin and Vancouver game, because there's no way Austin got 13 shots. They did not get that many shots. It was a very off night for them. But let me get the stats right here. Yep. So 20 shots compared to 7 that Austin has had. 5 shots on goal compared to none that Austin has had in this game. 4 shots off target compared to 6 that Vancouver has, and 8 shots that was blocked compared to 2 that Austin has. And possession wise, it was actually dead even at 50% for both of these teams. But yeah, in the end, Vancouver, they were by far the better team in this one. Well, they deserve of getting all 3 points in this game. And for Austin, the bad news for Austin is that I heard the rest of the season, the team that they're going to be facing are all teams above the red line. So they're going to have a really tough schedule to finish the season, and for a team that is looking to try to make it to the playoffs, that's not a good sign when you have to play some of the toughest team to finish the season. And also, not to mention, I've said in the preview of how Austin at times this season has been very inconsistent. There you go. After a big performance that they had against Nashville, it looks like things were going well for Josh Wolf's team. And then they put up this performance was just absolutely flat and uninspiring, and put up a performance that looked like an Austin team that we've seen time this season, where they just look like potentially could be a wooden spoon team with the way how they play. Now, moving on into the last game on this board is Miami and Chicago. And I'll tell you what, Inter Miami must have remembered that 4-1 beating that they took against Chicago last year at Soldier Field, because they played the Uno reverse card in this one against the Fire by winning 4-1 on the road this time against the Chicago Fire. Now, early on, Brady would deny Gresso from close range. The shots were 4-1 for Miami 15 minutes on. So Miami, they were on the front foot in the beginning. They were not messing around. And before you know it, in the 25th minute, they get the opening goal of this game. And you know things are going right for this Inter Miami team when an own goal like this happened from Tobias Suquest, where this actually happened when Brady actually made a great save from Suarez, but then it just deflected right into Socrates, who was just kind of in the wrong place, wrong time, when this one was parried out by Brady, and it goes into the back of net. So yeah, that just shows you how Inter Miami just have all the luck right now, and also just kind of shows you why the Chicago Fire has been a cursed franchise, because that that goal can only happen to the Chicago Fire. That is a very Chicago Fire-esque own goal to have, and just like that, they found themselves 1-0 down in this game. And then the post would deny Suarez from close range in the 27th minute. Miami clearly haven't forgot the 4-1 loss that they suffered last year. They were pressing for more. They were not showing any mercy to Chicago in this one. Elba would then miss wide from close range before Gomez puts it high from long range. Gutierrez then hits a one-hopper right to counter as we head to halftime with Miami leading 1-0. They waste no time to make it 2-0 in this one, as Luis Suarez was scored from Gomez to make it 2-0 in favor of Miami. Suarez did look for another, but he was denied by Brady. And then he was in on goal here, but only was able to hit this one right to Brady. Yeah, that's one that Luis Suarez would want to have back. But it was all Miami up to this point, and all Luis Suarez too, because he was hungry to try to get more goal. And if you're giving chances to one of the most dangerous number 9 in the league this season, yeah, eventually he's gonna make you pay, because in the 65th minute he would score here, and this is a Barcelona make goal, because the three Barcelona former Barcelona players, Suarez, Alba, and Busquets, all gets on the score sheet. I believe that's the first time that has happened this season for Inter Miami. But yeah, a Barcelona made goal happen in this one, and also a very Barcelona like goal as well, with the way how they just kind of do like a little tiki tacky kind of play that works out as far as getting a tapped in. And yeah, just like that, it was 3-0 up to this point. Acosta did look to respond, but he hits a slow roller right to counter before Suarez trying to go for a hat trick, but he hits it right to Brady. The post then denied Gomez from long range, so this could have been even more ugly up to this point. And then Brady would deny Suarez from close in the 78th minute. I'll tell you what, Chris Brady, I feel bad for him, because he was completely hung out to dry in this one. And if it wasn't for him, this could have been 5 or 6-0 in favor of Inter Miami. Again, Miami just not done when it comes to goal scoring. They want that fourth goal, but instead Chicago did get one back, as Kutsias would get one back from Acosta to make it 3-1 up to this point. Feel like it was a consolation goal more than a miraculous comeback to begin, because this is the Miami team that is not, especially from this season, they're not a team that is known to blow big leads. Jimenez then puts it wide from long range before Kuipers would miss it wide on the header. As I thought Miami started, it seems like they put the foot off the gas a little bit. Chicago looked like they were trying to get another consolation goal back, but instead, in the third minute stoppage time, Miami would get the fourth goal. It's Robert Taylor. He scored from Capana and Ruiz to make it 4-1 in favor of Inter Miami, and he had to pay for it a little bit, because he definitely got clipped from behind there as he took this one at home. You can see as he was celebrating, he was basically limping as a result of that. But nevertheless, Inter Miami, like I said, they did the Uno reverse car on Chicago in this match at Soldier Field, winning 4-1 this time, unlike last year when Fire won 4-1 against Inter Miami. The shots on this one, 15 shots for the 18 that Miami has, 8 shots on goal for the 4 that the Fire has, 2 shots off target for the 4 that the Fire has, 7 shots that was blocked for the 6 that Miami has, and possession-wise, 50% for both of these teams. And I really don't want to say this, but I feel like the annual September collapse is starting to begin for this Fire team. I will not be surprised if this team started to go on a losing run, and I'm pretty sure no Fire fans will be surprised that that is the case, because that's just been the case almost every single year, and there's a reason why. As I mentioned, they're probably the most cursed team right now in MLS, and a team that still has the longest active playoff drought, and that seems like it's going to continue next year, unless if they turn things around. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of the review of all of these games. As always, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this review. Tomorrow I'll look at the last five games, and I said 5 games instead of 6, because I already did the review of the St. Louis versus Galaxy game. I did that review literally right after when the game finish as well. So you're welcome in terms of me able to talk about that game literally just like 20 minutes after the game is over. That's probably the fastest I've uploaded a video right after the game is over. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.